In a stunning moment that has shaken both the streaming world and the wider conversation around safety at fan conventions, Twitch CEO Dan Clancy has publicly acknowledged that TwitchCon 2025 failed in its most basic responsibility: to protect one of its own creators, streamer Emiru, who was attacked during the event by a man who reportedly forced his way through barriers and attempted to kiss her without consent. The incident took place during a meet-and-greet session where Emiru, whose real name is Emily Beth Shunk, was taking photos with fans, a routine moment that turned into a disturbing display of negligence and chaos, highlighting glaring weaknesses in Twitch's event security and crisis management. According to Emiru, the attacker emerged suddenly from the crowd, grabbed her, and tried to kiss her before being pulled away by her personal security team. While Twitch's security was present in the vicinity, she claimed that none of them took immediate action, allowing the man to walk away freely for hours before he was eventually apprehended, contradicting Twitch's own public statement that the man had been caught right after the incident. Emiru detailed her experience in a social media post on October 18, where she expressed both fear and frustration, saying that she was shaken and disappointed not just by what happened, but by how Twitch handled it during and after the fact. In her post, she said, "Yesterday, the man who assaulted me was allowed to cross multiple barriers at TwitchCon and even in front of another creator's meet and greet to grab me and my face and try to kiss me. Fortunately, he wasn't able to, but a lot of people have pointed out it could have been a lot worse." That single line, "it could have been a lot worse," quickly became a rallying cry among other Twitch creators who shared her outrage, as the story sparked widespread condemnation across the streaming community, exposing a deeper cultural problem that many creators, particularly women, have been warning Twitch about for years. What happened to Emiru is not an isolated event, but the latest and most visible example of what many describe as a pattern of inaction by Twitch when it comes to protecting creators, especially women, from harassment and unsafe conditions both online and in person. For years, Twitch streamers have reported instances of stalking, harassment, and personal safety threats that go unanswered or unresolved. The incident at TwitchCon 2025 crystallized those fears into a single horrifying moment in public view. After the incident, Twitch issued a brief statement claiming that their security team immediately handled the situation and the individual was detained, but Emiru called that statement a blatant lie, asserting that the man had not been caught for several hours and that Twitch's own staff had downplayed what happened. In her words, what hurt most was not just the assault attempt itself, but the company's apparent indifference and failure to respond truthfully. She also confirmed that this would be her final TwitchCon after attending the event for a decade, citing the emotional toll and lack of faith in the platform's ability to protect its creators. That revelation sent shockwaves through the community, as Emiru has been one of Twitch's most recognizable faces and a longtime ambassador for the platform's brand. As her post circulated online, a wave of support and outrage followed. Other prominent streamers like Pokimane, who has herself been vocal about online harassment and parasocial behavior, publicly responded to Emiru's post, saying she hoped the incident would push Twitch to finally take our concerns seriously. Countless fans and creators echoed those sentiments, saying that the failure of security at a major event like TwitchCon, where thousands attend and dozens of top creators appear, was unacceptable. Many pointed out that meet-and-greet areas should be the most controlled and secure zones, especially considering the well-documented risks of unwanted contact, obsessive fans, and stalker incidents that have plagued the industry. In the wake of mounting criticism, Twitch CEO Dan Clancy issued a statement acknowledging that the company had failed, both in allowing the incident to occur and in our response following. This rare admission from the top of the company marked a turning point, as Clancy publicly apologized to Emiru and committed to conducting a full review of TwitchCon safety procedures. However, the apology came only after a week of backlash and criticism, particularly following a poorly received interview where Clancy appeared to deflect responsibility, saying that the challenge we face is a challenge in today's society. It's not limited to Twitch, it extends throughout our society. That comment drew sharp criticism from both the public and fellow streamers, who accused him of minimizing Twitch's specific role and using vague social commentary to avoid accountability. The backlash forced Clancy to issue another statement, this time more direct and personal, admitting that Twitch had mismanaged our communications about the incident and apologizing for his earlier comments. "We mismanaged our communications about the incident, and that includes the comments I made. I apologize to Emiru for all that took place." Clancy went on to describe how the company is now conducting a complete analysis of what went wrong during the meet and greet, including how signups were handled, how barriers and security zones were structured, and why the on-site response was so slow. He emphasized that Twitch will be making significant changes to its security approach for future events, promising that attendees will see stronger protocols, tighter crowd management, and increased coordination between personal and event security teams. He said, "You put a lot of trust in us by attending TwitchCon, and we take our responsibility to keep you safe seriously. We know that TwitchCon means a lot to a lot of people, and it means a lot to us. Be on the lookout for more updates, and thanks for being a part of Twitch." Even with that apology, however, the damage to Twitch's public image may already be done. For many, the issue goes beyond one event or one incident. It reflects a deeper problem in how the company has historically treated safety as an afterthought. TwitchCon is supposed to be a celebration of the creator community, but for many women in streaming, it has become a place where personal security is a constant concern. The idea that a man could cross multiple barriers in front of staff and security and physically grab a streamer without being stopped immediately has become a symbol of how disconnected the platform's executives are from the real experiences of their creators. Dozens of smaller creators shared their own accounts of feeling unsafe at Twitch events, citing stories of harassment, inappropriate fan behavior, and poor communication from event staff. Several mentioned that even when they raised concerns in the past, they were met with silence or empty promises from Twitch representatives. The Emiru incident therefore became a breaking point, not just for her, but for a large segment of the Twitch community that feels the company has prioritized brand image and sponsorships over creator safety. Observers have noted that this controversy arrives at a particularly sensitive time for Twitch, which has already been struggling with its reputation among creators due to declining payouts, controversial policy changes, and ongoing competition from platforms like YouTube and Kick. Clancy's leadership has faced scrutiny before, but this is arguably the most serious test of his tenure. The failure at TwitchCon has raised questions about whether Twitch, as a company, truly understands the risks its creators face. In an age where online fame can bring both wealth and unwanted attention, creators, particularly women, often face threats that extend beyond digital boundaries. Events like TwitchCon should be designed with that reality in mind, but according to Emiru's account and witness reports, that awareness was missing in 2025. Dozens of creators have since demanded independent oversight of TwitchCon's security process, as well as mandatory safety training for event staff. Several have even suggested the need for gender-sensitive safety measures, like designated secure zones or enhanced staff presence at meet-and-greet areas involving high-profile female streamers. In fairness, Twitch has promised reform before. After earlier incidents of harassment and stalking, the company rolled out new online safety tools, including better moderation controls and reporting systems. But critics argue that physical safety at live events has not received the same level of attention. Emiru's experience exposes the gap between online moderation and real-world protection, and it highlights how corporate promises often fall short when tested under pressure. For years, Twitch has positioned itself as a community-driven platform, celebrating inclusivity, creativity, and connection. But the response to this assault attempt revealed a troubling disconnect between the platform's public messaging and its actions behind the scenes. The fact that Emiru, a well-known and long-serving figure within the Twitch ecosystem, felt compelled to publicly announce her departure from TwitchCon events speaks volumes about the erosion of trust between creators and the company's leadership. The backlash has also spread beyond Twitch itself. Fans and commentators across YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, and Reddit have dissected every detail of the incident, questioning why Twitch's initial public statement appeared misleading and why it took several days for a full acknowledgement of failure. Some speculated that the company was more concerned with protecting its public image than protecting its community. The comparison to previous public relations crises was unavoidable, as users pointed out similar slow and cautious responses from Twitch during past controversies. What separates this incident, however, is the human cost, the fear, trauma, and lasting emotional damage that Emiru described, and the ripple effect it has on other creators who now question whether attending TwitchCon is worth the risk. Twitch's upcoming events, including its European conventions, are now under intense scrutiny. Clancy has promised major changes, but until those changes are transparent and measurable, skepticism remains. The company's commitment will be judged not by its words, but by its actions, by how it restructures event layouts, how it trains its staff, and how it enforces security boundaries to prevent any repeat of this incident. Some creators have already announced that they will skip the next TwitchCon altogether, citing safety concerns and a lack of faith in the platform's ability to protect their creators. Others are calling for Twitch to partner with independent security experts, an advocacy organization specializing in harassment prevention at public events. The broader industry is watching too. The Emiru incident has reignited conversations about creator safety across the entertainment landscape, from YouTube FanFest to VidCon and beyond. It has forced companies to confront an uncomfortable truth. The line between fan enthusiasm and personal violation can be dangerously thin if proper safeguards are not in place. For Twitch, a company built on the idea of community, this failure cuts especially deep. It raises the question of whether the platform can continue to claim that it values its creators if it cannot guarantee their safety at its own flagship convention. Ultimately, TwitchCon 2025 will be remembered not for its panels, its announcements, or its community celebrations, but for a moment of violence and a reckoning that followed. Emiru's courage in speaking out has once again drawn attention to issues that too often get brushed aside until tragedy strikes. Her words have galvanized a movement within the streaming world, one that demands not just apologies, but systemic change. And while Dan Clancy's apology is a step in the right direction, it is only that, a step. The real test lies in whether Twitch can rebuild the trust it has lost, not through statements or promises, but through action, transparency,